What is up, guys? Checkers Brea coming at you with another one for the real shit. Coming at you live, loud, and clear. We got a lot of things going on. The gate money is changing, folks. For inmates getting out of prison, the gate money is changing. We will have a co-host on tonight. We'll have him introduce himself. Let's give him a call.
Hello?
Hello. This is Checkers Brea calling from the real shit.
Checkers, what's going on, brother? This is Slick.
Slick, how you doing? You want to introduce yourself for everybody?
Yes, this is Slick and Selma. I'm a correctional officer. I've currently been a sworn peace officer for the last 8 years. Currently out on work comp due to a work-related injury. So, yeah, here I am now trying to kill some time.
Let's do that. Slick, as you know, the gate money is changing. I think I talked to you about it before.
Significantly.
These guys are getting released with $250 on a debit card, I believe. Is that correct?
It is $250. Would you like to tell people what they're getting now?
Yes, I would. They will be getting $2,400.
Jesus Christ.
$2,400.
Hear that, folks? That is where your tax money is going.
What do you think about that, Slick? You think that's too much? You think that's too little?
Man, honestly, what can you expect, man? Like 2 years, like these inmates started getting stimulus checks through the whole COVID stuff going on. Remember that?
Yes, they did get COVID. Yes, they did get stimulus checks.
I mean, I was passing out checks. Like I was passing out those little envelopes and saying that they were getting like $1,400 here, $1,600 there, and it's like, and it's crazy. Some of these people hadn't seen their kids in years. You know what I'm saying? But you're getting a stimulus check for, having dependents or this and that. But it's like, dude, you're confined to, prison. You haven't even paid taxes or anything. So honestly, what they're giving them now, it doesn't surprise me. Like what it does is kind of like it leaves me kind of dumbfounded due to the fact that we just got a 6% increase in pay over the last 2 years, and they're saying that they really had to try to fight and squeeze it out, but them getting these $2,400 gate money just came so easily. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, I'll be honest, it's kind of disheartening, because it's like, man, we're over here, you know, putting our asses on the line all the time. I literally have done it. I mean, I need to have multiple shoulder surgeries, and I'm over here fighting to get my money every month, and over here, convict, they get out of prison, they're getting, hey, here's $2,400 a month, and I over here have to fight just to get, the money that I'm getting every month. It's disheartening, man. It's crazy because,
well, Slick, let me stop you there. Okay. They're not going to get a debit card with $2,400 on it. It's going to be a process they're going to have to go through.
Okay.
What does the process entail? Nobody knows. You have any guesses, ideas?
I bet you they have to join some reentry program upon release. That they probably have to provide clean drug tests, for so long, and then they'll probably get the money. You know what I'm saying?
How long do you think it's going to take for them to get this $2,400? I mean, it can't be too long, right? The point of them getting this $2,400 is so that they have money so when they get out, right?
Yeah.
You think it's going to be 1 month? You think it's going to be 2 months, 3 months at the most? How long do you think it's going to be?
God, I wouldn't even say it's a month.
I would probably say it's going to be about a month.
For sure. Like, it's their gate money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I bet you they have to enroll in some kind of program before they even leave, some reentry program. I know they have a bunch of reentry programs as it is right now at the prison. So they'll probably have to get into, a reentry program. They have parenting programs and like substance abuse programs. So I'm pretty sure they're going to really be pushing them on these guys to say, hey, if you want your gate money, you have to go through all these programs and pass these programs in order to get this incentive.
So I think it's going to be $2,400, right? What they're going to do is they're going to give them the $250 at the gate, right? They're going to say, hey, show up at your probation officer, show up at your parole agent's
Yeah, your
office.
parole check-in. Yeah.
As soon as they check in, boom, they get some more money, right?
Yeah.
Then their agent or their officer will be, okay, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. As soon as they check in, verify they do that, boom, they get more money.
Yeah.
I think they're going to pay them for every step they take. That's a lot of money, though. And the point of them is to have the money. So I don't think it's going to take 2 months, 3 months. I think it's going to be the first month.
For sure.
They're going to get that money.
They're going to get that quick because, I mean, depending if you're like a high risk parole or minimum risk, sometimes you have to check in with your parole officer, within 24 hours of being released, so they'll probably get a significant chunk there, once they enter like some housing situation or anything like that and enroll in some kind of program. I honestly think it'll probably be like you said, within the first month that they've received this money.
Slick, they're calling this a groundbreaking initiative. You think it's a groundbreaking initiative that these guys are going to get $2,400?
God, I mean, we've been in the department 8 years now. I'm like, God, how many groundbreaking initiatives have there been? They shut down SHU, they created all these mental health programs, the substance abuse programs, this California remodel, the non-designated programming facilities, like everything that has been going on has been supposedly being groundbreaking. Yet, like, we're yet to see any result of it.
Absolutely. Most programs that these institutions implement are complete and total failures, right?
Oh, for
Let's
sure.
just be honest. They'll put up on their website, hey, we just had 2,400. Well, we just had 24 graduates from. They just got their GED. That's great.
Yeah.
It's great that 24 dudes got their GEDs. What about the other 800 inmates sitting back there in the back in their cells? You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. And it's crazy because the list to get into these programs and these classes, like, are hundreds of inmates long. Like, to get their GED, man, you're talking about like 300-400 like inmate wait lists on there just to get into those classes or into any kind of vocation classes or substance abuse programs or any kind of reentry programs. Like, man, their classes are like 30-40 deep every year. But you're talking about on average, there's 1,000 inmates a yard just where I'm at. So it's like you're taking 30 inmates, probably 15 and 15 from each yard for these programs. Run a morning and afternoon, that's 60 inmates. But then it's like, okay, there's 60, but then you're talking about almost 2,000 inmates that are still waiting or potentially trying to get onto those lists or whether they're eligible or not to be on that list. So it's like, I believe it creates a lot more animosity back on the yards when they're getting upset and frustrated and angry over the fact that they don't get access to these programs simply because, there's not the staffing or, I'll be honest, the real estate for them to hold these programs in order to get a large amount of these programs that they need to, progress through the rehabilitation process. Say that jokingly.
Yeah, that's what they've told them. Like, hey, get these programs, do your programs. You get out sooner, but they can't facilitate the programs.
They can't. There's no way.
No way.
Yeah, they have like free staff that run these programs and they come in and volunteer. They'll run them 2 or 3 classes in the morning and 2 or 3 classes at night. Then you got the reentry, parenting. You got CGA, Criminal Gangs Anonymous. You have all these classes, but it's like you don't have like we were saying, you don't have the real estate or the manpower to create enough just for all these people to get access to it. So I honestly believe it creates a lot more animosity and a lot more problems on it because people feel like there's no hope. Like they have 2 years, a 2-year sentence, and there's like a 3 or 4 year wait list just to get these programs. It's like, what's the point of it? You know what I'm saying? It's just a revolving door. And I believe the state knows. The state knows that there's no way that they can facilitate enough programs and enough access to these programs where every inmate gets an equal shot at it. It's just, hey, it's over the table. It's like, hey, look, this is what we're doing. We want you to see that, hey, this is what we're doing for these inmates, but underneath the table, they're throwing them the middle finger and they're like, hey, fuck you. You know what? I'm sorry for my language, but it's just it's just a freaking show and tell type thing, man. That's all they want to do.
Yeah, like you said, man, a lot of these programs that they want these guys to take and they tell them to take, they're not run by employee, or they're not run by employees specific to these programs. They're run by employees who are volunteering their time to do these programs for these dudes,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Yeah, right. There's absolutely no training or anything that goes into it. They just present PowerPoints and that's all they do. It's like PowerPoints and just like talking points, stuff like that that they're just pushing on these inmates, and like, hey, more power to them and stuff like that. But you're talking about running these specific programs for these specific, reasons and points on rehabilitation. You'd think you'd bring in
Specialty
people that have,
instructors,
oh, for sure,
you know.
specialty instruction to be able to give that, But I just believe a lot of the times it's just like people just sitting down. Just, I'll be honest, I've walked in there like to get inmates for appointments and ducats, and like they're just in there just. I'll be honest, they're just in there shooting the shit, and it's like, okay, what's going on in here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought this was reentry, but you guys over here talking all this crap about gang politics and BS and going back out to your baby mama and this and that. But it's like, you think you're supposed to be in here trying to learn something, try to be a better productive citizen to get ready to go back into the real world.
Yeah, it's a very small percentage of
Yeah.
inmates who actually want to do that, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah. I mean,
What
honestly,
from my
no one's,
experience.
yeah, honestly, like you get told it all the time. They're like, I'm just doing this just to get the hell up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know what? If you're gonna hustle the system, and if you got in there and you got the chance to go in there and do it, go ahead, dude, handle it. But if you're going in there for all the wrong reasons, you're just gonna end up coming back into that revolving door. And it's like, and I've seen it. Like, man, I remember back when we were general population, we had a inmate there, and he was on my yard crew on B yard, and he paroled, and I swear, like 21 days later, not even a month later, he was back. And I was like, remember I was throwing out trash with my yard crew on B yard after chow, and I remember I saw him, and I was like, dude, what the hell, where you at? I was like, dude, you just paroled. Like, what do you expect, man? I'm a criminal. It's exactly what he told me, and he was yard crew on Alpha Yard, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. These people is just like, people just don't change, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. When these dudes get out, when they're about to get out, they say, "Hey, Bray, I'm about to get out." I'm like, dude, good, man. Don't ever fucking come. I don't ever want to see you again.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to see you again.
But, hell no, I don't want to see you either.
But it's like a revolving door, man. They come back.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. Well, it's like, man, people grew up that way. Like it's so ingrained into them. It's literally just a part of their DNA and their psyche. And it's just like, it's extremely unfortunate. It sucks that they see the world that way. That there's only one way to live, and it revolves around committing crimes, doing drugs, committing gang acts, and it's like,
yeah, you have mom, dad, uncles, cousins, nephews, nieces. They're all involved.
Oh, for sure.
They're all involved in crime, and it's horrible. It really is horrible.
What's sad is that it's become a family demographic now more than anything. You have people that that are like fourth, fifth, and sixth generation of their gangs now, and you'll like, man. I remember I had a dude on my yard a long time ago. Like, I think it was like 2017, and like this dude was like fourth generation Maravilla. Like his dad was Maravilla, his grandpa was Maravilla, and his great grandpa was Maravilla. And I was just like, that's insane, man. And like, yeah, it was crazy, man. Like he showed pictures of like, he had pictures there of his like family and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, that's insane, He even had like a picture, like it was like a picture of his like grandfather's CDC ID, and it was like on a dresser that he like kept with him all the time. And I was just like, dang, that's insane. Like like there's like, you never thought of breaking the cycle instead of just following it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's sad.
It is sad, man. But you know what? Let me tell you something. It's all going to change now. It's all going to change. We have the California model rolling in, and everything is going to be fixed, man. This is going to fix it, right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it definitely. According to the people that are in the higher ups, the people that have spent the money that they went over there and they observed inmates living in these better conditions and stuff like that. Of course, yeah, it's a great way to think about it. But there's one thing that we have that they don't,
What's that?
and that's we have a lot more races than them. You go over there, it's predominantly white. You go over there, there's like throughout the whole country, there's like 1,800 inmates.
Yeah.
And
There's like
out of
I
those,
think it's only a few hundred are murderers.
yeah, and then you come to one prison, you go to Pelican Bay. I think there's still there's like, well, I remember when we were there was like almost 4,000 inmates in that facility. Now there's only like 2,300 of them. But on facility B alone, 65% of their population are murderers, and I think that population is around 800. So it's like that alone, just that,
That yard alone is just quadruple what Norway has.
yeah, that whole country, you know, and that country, Norway, has one race of people, and it's not going to have the intertwining factions, the different gangs. You're talking about, the Nostra Familia, the Mexican Mafia, the Aryan Brotherhood, the Bloods, the Crips, the others, and everything in between.
Yeah, they
you
literally
can't
don't have millions of gang members over there like we have here.
no. And the thing of it is that not only that, but not only did the gang members that are in custody, but all the networking that those gang members control throughout the state as well. That's out of custody. So you're talking about, hundreds of thousands, like over 100,000 inmates in the correctional system, and then you got millions of people out there that these people influence. You know what I'm saying? And conduct crime. So it's like all you're doing by loosening up the grips that we have on these inmates is greatening their influence on themselves within the prison system and within the outside world that they manipulate and control. You know, um, I just think it's going to be a huge amount of backfire. Like if there was going to be a California remodel, it shouldn't be the way the prison conducts itself and the way they program these inmates. It should be into the remodel of the prisons because God, a lot of the prisons that with the exception of Pelican Bay, it's a newer prison, even though it was in '89. Man, a lot of the prisons that I've seen, I remember just going when I went to Solano and Mule Creek for Cossets. They're in really rough shape. The prison that I'm at, Sierra Conservation Center, there the dorms are in just egregious and horrible conditions. Like, man, chunks of plaster and drywall and concrete falling off of the door, off of the ceilings. The doors are just completely rusted and rust rotted. If you're gonna do a remodel it to where the inmates have better conditions in their living. Just don't remodel the format in which the inmates are going to be programmed because it's never going to work. Like it's not going to work like that. There's way too many demographics that are within our prison system to hope that that works. It's just, I honestly think it's just a powder keg ready to happen because, we're starting to get to the point where there's actually starting to be a little bit more, the violence is actually starting to go up within the department now. So the more you loosen it up, I think it's just going to get worse because, you have two rival factions that agreed to end hostilities that are kind of back in the mix and possibly going to be going to war again. So I honestly believe if, they loosen it up like that to make it appear like we're trying to be better towards them, I think it's just going to ultimately backfire in our face. And it's going to lead to a lot more violence. We're going to have a lot more overdoses. I believe that there's going to be a lot more non-custody staff and possibly custody staff that are going to get put in the chance to be manipulated by these inmates because we're going to be told that we need to treat them better. And I'm going to lie, those lines are probably going to feel blurred. They're going to be like, oh, you know what, this is that. I'm just going to bring in this decent food. It's going to be rapport better and this and that. And it's just going to keep going and it's going to get worse. I think
It's going to be
just going to escalate.
It happens now.
For sure.
It happens now. So imagine on the level of that.
Oh yeah.
How it's going to happen.
Over here, it's going to be ugly.
Let me tell you what they're calling it. They're saying the
All right,
California model is a paradigm shift that draws on international best practices to change culture within the state's prison. The California model aims to develop a human-centered culture of healing, positive staff inmate communication, and improving living and working conditions. In cohesion, these principles will improve public safety, rehabilitation, and reentry, as well as outcomes.
oh my God, that's like some political babble if I've ever heard it.
Why is CDCR implementing the California model?
I think it's just because they're just trying to stay relevant. They're probably
No,
not getting as much.
that's not what they said. They said they're doing
What
it
is it?
because it's the right thing to do.
That's crazy.
But see, I don't think it's going to work. And I'll tell you why it's going to work. But they'll say that this worked. They've already changed all the laws. The streets are
Yeah.
wild out here, man. Prop 47,
sure.
all those laws that changed, they're not taking
Mm.
these dudes to prison no more.
And then Gascon out down there in LA County is releasing everybody.
Oh, yeah, man. He, as a matter of fact, he just hired someone to work for him that was a looter, a former looter.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's all over the news right now. That dude's
surprising.
nothing but trouble, man. They've tried to recall that dude like 2 times already. It's wild. And I think I don't think I have it up, but there's like 96% of LA DAs want this food done, want him out of there.
Well, man, I can't tell you. I remember we had so much mail coming from that DA's office, and I remember a bunch of inmates were getting sent over to LA County, getting retried and reheard, and man, they're getting released left and right.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, and like I remember like when I started I was like, dude, why is all this mail coming from LA County, LA County? Because, and then not only that, we were getting a bunch of legal mail because they were getting sent this paperwork that they had to send to their lawyers to petition for rehearing. And so then all this legal mail started coming in, and it was coming from all that. So I started asking, not about their cases or anything like that. I'm like, dude, what does this got to do with this? Because I was passing out like 30 or 40 legal mail ducats like a day. It was crazy. And so they were like, oh, Gascon, he's going to let us all out and this, and that. And so like I started writing down like numbers of all these inmates, just to like, I was like, I'm going to check in on this like later on and see what's going on. And truth be told, man, they transfer out to LA County and parole like within weeks, parole. Then you're like, dang, that's crazy. Like some of them were lifers, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. They had inmates filming themselves having drinking parties, giving shouts out to Gascon
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
in the
Like,
cell.
I just like, I don't know how that dude got where he's at, and like, and it's crazy because crime down there is skyrocketing. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it's skyrocketing, it's going up everywhere.
Absolutely, it's horrible.
Yeah, like my older brother, he actually works corrections at the juvenile hall here at the county that I live in. And man, he said they have like 45 kids under their custody, and he said like 9 of them are in there for murder. And I'm like, dang, that's like 20%, dude. And it's crazy because they're 18 and under, and like the elevation intensity of violence that like these crimes that are happening nowadays it's just insane.
Yeah,
But it's like,
crazy.
mhm. But it's like, they're trying to make it sound like these people are just lashing out after years of oppression and, bad living conditions and bad environment and all that. But it's like, yeah, I get that. There's really rough areas, really bad upbringings, stuff like that. But growing up, you're taught what's right and wrong, and it's just like, it's not about what, the white man didn't give you. It's not about what, the opportunities you didn't get. It's like, we got a chance and this is life. And it's like, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. And it's just like, it's just people just love going the wrong way because they think it's easier because instead of going and getting a 9 to 5 job, they go and rob somebody and they're like, dude, check this out. County's just going to kick me out because prison's overpopulated. They're not charging people for like crimes anymore that are under $1,000. It's like, hey, why even do the right thing when crime now is just like, it's almost like they're being freaking, pushed to do that way when it's just incentive, like you're not getting prosecuted, you're not getting, you
You're
know,
you're
you're
not
not,
going to prison. If you do go to prison, you're gonna get $2,400 when you get out.
yeah, and it's like you're gonna go to prison and it's not like you're gonna, miss out on anything because they're giving you free tablets. You're
Oh,
over here talking to, yeah, you're living your day to day life, just, you know, every day in there, and it's
video
crazy.
chatting.
Didn't you tell me too that their canteen draws are going to go up
Yeah, it's going
because
up.
of inflation?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
so it's like, what's, what is the detriment of going to prison anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it sucks being away from the family and like having to, lock it up and go here, there, and this and that, but there's no accountability held towards these inmates anymore, and it's just like, like I remember we would write a book an inmate for being out of bounds one day, and then like 2 days later, hey, dude, you're out of bounds. You'll book them. And back then, lieutenants used to find them guilty both times, And then now they're like, well, that's stacking. It's like, dude, it's 2 different days. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I book him for being out of bounds, and then I patted him down, and I find something else on him, usually go for the greater charge. You know what I'm saying? And do them with that. But now it's like it could be 2 or 3 days apart where you find them out of bounds for this and out of bounds for that. They're like, well, I haven't even heard that out of bounds, first out of bounds, right up. And they're having the second one that you just did thrown out because they're like, well, it's stacking because the other one hasn't cleared yet. It's like, that's not how it works. It's like, what's the point of even writing these inmates up doing our jobs?
Yeah, you got captains deleting write ups out of the system. You got AWs deleting write ups out of the system. There's no reprimand.
Oh, no,
It's wild out here. It's wild.
it's crazy. Oh, yeah. It's like, and it's crazy because all the accountability being pushed from all these officers, but there's no accountability for, supervisors. There's no accountability for sergeants, lieutenants, captains, and AWs. Like these upper echelon, positions over here operate with impunity and hammer custody staff on being in compliance and performing to the exact standard of your duties, but nobody else is. And it's just like you can understand why morale's going down the toilet the way it is because it's like we can't do anything to these inmates. It's like the inmates are this protected property of the state now, and we can't do nothing to them. Because I mean, look at how they're telling us about like, oh, when they approved the use of polos without our patches on them because they want to create a more friendly environment because they believe that our uniforms are intimidating.
Yeah.
I never switched to that. I freaking wore my greens, and the only thing I ever changed is that I put a load bearing vest on. But other than that, I was like, I'm not changing anything the way that I look
Yeah.
because I
So,
fought. I
yeah, some institutions they won't even let you wear black gloves. If you have black nitrile gloves, I talked to a lot of officers out there. If you have
Yeah,
black gloves, they will not let you wear them. They say they're too intimidating.
yes, we used to have black. I think we got them back, but I remember for a couple years, all we had were like the blue ones, and they weren't even like nitrile gloves. They were like almost like food serving gloves, and they were just trash. And I was just mad because like, man, like we wear gloves for everything, Like I was always taught, you don't come in contact with the inmate, his property, anything unless you have gloves on because you don't you don't know what's out there. Get cut, poke, stabbed, or anything like that, or
Dope.
your
There's
hands
yeah,
searching.
dope. Anything, fecal matter,
Hep
whatever.
C, Hep C, all that. Like,
Yeah.
but I ain't gonna lie, the one thing that we were taught, I think that the reason why we were taught is because they told us that MRSA was on everything. But it's like, and then I asked, I was like, dude, why do we get all these crappy gloves? And they're like, oh, dude, black's too intimidating. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, are you kidding me? And then the whole uniform thing, like they were like trying to, like they were like always putting notes up and stuff like that, like about us switching to polos and this, that, the tan polos. You don't have, oh, they were trying to make it an incentive that, oh, you don't have to pay to get patches on it and this is that. And it's like, yeah, dude, I'm cool. I don't like those. Like, I don't, like, I'm good. I don't like the stretchy feeling or anything like that. Like, I like the feeling of that BDU material being on me because if I go to the ground or anything, that thing is going to withstand a lot more than a dumb polo would. Like I'm
Yeah,
not there to
exactly.
play golf.
That's
I'm
what it's
not there to
for.
play. Yeah, I'm not there to play golf, dude. I'm there to handle business if I have to. It's like, and this is what I want to wear. Oh, it's just crazy how much it's changing, man. Like, and just being out the 8 months that I have been, like, I just heard of so much change and so much stuff going on. Like, I heard we can't take an inmate and place them in handcuffs unless they completely submit to being put in handcuffs now because it's considered a use of force. And I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. You can have an inmate that says, like, no, I'm not going to let you handcuff me. And the most you can do is just say, all right, follow me to the office. So at any point in time, if that inmate that was being obstructive, non-compliant, you're walking them up to this office now with them not in cuffs because it's a use of force. If you put their hands behind them and handcuff them, now you're put in a position where you have an aggravated inmate that is walking in front of you that now has the drop on you because guess what? He can just spin around and swing on you.
And it happens all the time.
He, oh, for sure. Yeah. It happens when they're in freaking handcuffs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, then they start kicking, start trying to headbutt, like, and it's crazy. It's just like insane, like where this department is going when it comes to, the treatment of its product versus the treatment of staff,
Did you hear
and it's
about
like,
the MK9 streamers?
no, no, are they going away?
No, they're not going away. But what they're going to do now is if you utilize chemical agents, aka the MK9, right?
Yes.
What they're going to do is they're going to have, I think, a range master or um, somebody from ISU or IGI. They're going to come. They're going to take your spray now. They're going to process it into evidence and give you a different spray.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. That's their new thing they're doing now.
I mean, no, that's so dumb. I remember when we were at Pelican Bay and if an officer shot the 40 millimeter or anything like that, we used to gather the rounds and the evidence. But man, the NK9, that's crazy. That's going to cost so much because you have 9 ounces of agent in there, right? Well, around 9 to 12. And let's say you do a 2 second burst, that'll probably dump out like a third, like a quarter of it, if that. So they're going to start having to replenish all that. But God, it's going to cost so much money.
Absolutely. They're going to do the same with the batons. If you use force with the baton, with a monognock expandable baton, they're going to take it and they're going to book it into evidence and give you a different one.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. That's what the rumor is coming down from high places, actually.
I thought the only time they can do that is if it was involved in a deadly kind of use of force where, if you hit an inmate in the head with a baton or if you took that MK9 and had to smack someone in the face with it, because in those instances it's considered a deadly use of force because you struck them in the head. And then they have to go through the whole defib process and collect the weapon or whatever it is to submit it to evidence until the investigation is closed. And then it goes back onto the line. But man, just for any use of force, that's crazy.
Yep. That's what
why
I heard is coming down.
You know why, though, right? It's saying that so it gets officers not to use force.
Absolutely.
All it is a ploy, because due to case law, a department can't go in and change its use of force policy after it's already been, accepted and approved. They can go in and make amendments to it, like the whole, now you have to give verbal orders in between, like grenade tosses and this and that, best practice should be that, you need to tell your partners when you're going to throw that grenade. So when you deploy it, that other officer can give orders and they can deploy it. So not everybody's just dumping all these grenades downrange. It's just schemes and
but when you're in the middle of a fight, you're in the middle of you're not focused on what everybody else is doing. You're focused on the people around you. You're doing your best to try and focus on everybody around you. But exactly what they're thinking inside their head, you have no clue.
I mean, honestly, we heard it. I mean, we've been pulled into meetings all the time. They're like, "Did you guys really have to use 4 grenades?" It's like, but if you look at it, we're over here on the skirmish line. We're like, each cop that threw that grenade is like 8 to 10 feet apart from each other. It's like you can't tell at that point in time. Your like my focus is what's directly in front of me. It's the incident at hand. And the only time my focus goes to an officer if I see that they're getting too close or if they're absorbing themselves too close to that incident. And then that's when I'm like, all right, cool, you need to come back and I'll focus on somebody else. But if we're in a good skirmish line and we're a good distance apart and it's safe, honestly, I'm not thinking about my partners because they're dialed in. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about that incident and I'm thinking about putting it down. Now, if I throw a grenade and I see three more go, oh well, we threw them at the same time. I'm not going to sit there and be like, make sure that, oh, I'm looking down the line, making sure who's throwing a grenade or who's getting ready to, who's got a can of spray out, because my job is to quell that incident without delay, and it's just nuts. It's crazy because they don't want cops using force no more because now that, all these programs are failing like NDPF and all that, if they go in there and they fight and they don't use force, it's not a reportable incident. So these inmates will just go to ADSEG, NDS 2000 or NDS 200, and they get shipped out within 72 hours. But if there's like a battery involved where force is used, then it has to get reported, and now there's, a potential, chewable offense if there was any SBI or anything like that. So it's just a ploy to try to make it sound like these programs are working when it's not.
Yeah, that's pretty much they want to. Yeah,
they want to mitigate the use of force. That's why they always speak like, oh, before incidents happen, even though we're not supposed to do it, we'll have meetings. Or okay, and they're like, remember, minimal reliance on the use of force and the performance of your custodial duties. Minimal reliance on the performance of your custodial duties. And it's like, first off, you're not supposed to be getting down like that because you're supposed to allow an officer to operate without outside influence. They're allowed to go, they're supposed to be able to go out there with a clear mind and a clear conscience and perform their job. But if you start having to have lieutenants and sergeants telling them, oh, wait for this, wait for that, we need you to stop, we need you to wait until the radio call's done before you use force, all you're doing is making your officers hesitate, and then it increases the chance for violence that is happening to increase and somebody getting seriously hurt, and then that officer being negligent in the performance of their duties. And it's sad because you're seeing it happen all over. Cops are being found, and then cops are being thrown into adverse action left and right over uses of force, reports, and it's like, well, man, you're putting all this pressure on us for one thing, and then we finally do our job, and if someone messes up or anything like that, you're dropping the axe on the back of our necks, when in reality, it's like it should be like the supervisors and management that's really being told, hey, you need to let these officers operate the way that they're supposed to and the way that they're sworn into, and you guys need to adhere to the policies and procedures that allow these officers to perform the scope of those duties without outside influence, without, to be honest, like the only time a supervisor or anything is supposed to intervene in an officer's duties is when they're found performing outside of the scope of their duties. So if they're performing negligently, if they're doing something wrong, yeah, you have the right to step in as a supervisor because then that can fall back on you. But if you see your cops doing the right things, then you should have honestly nothing to say to them. Just mostly just, hey, is everybody safe? Is everybody all right? Anybody hurt? Yeah, cool. But then you go in and like, we'll handle an incident or a riot, and they'll be like, did you really have to throw grenades? Well, I don't want to see that many grenades thrown again. Alrighty, dude, well, check this out. You're already out of policy talking to me like that. You're not supposed to be getting at me like that because you know what? I can't account for what everybody else is doing around me. It's sad.
It is, man. That's why I'm telling everybody who's thinking about doing this job, you said it best last time. Don't waste your potential.
Oh, for sure, dude. If you have any skills outside of it, do it, man. Like I know, man. We make $8,900 a month, and that's amazing. Like honestly, like
then it gets taxed though. Don't make it sound like they take their money.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
We don't take home no $8,900 a month.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying though, like. There's like not a lot of jobs, like not a lot of journeyman level jobs that you're going to get paid that. You know what I'm saying?
So here's my advice to people. Go to CHP. Go to the California Highway Patrol.
Oh, for sure.
Go drive around. Go get lunch where you want to get lunch.
Go get your half off at In-N-Out.
Go get your half off at In-N-Out and Chipotle. And just go drive around, man. Go be free, because this is not freedom.
I'll be honest though, like I have an older brother that was CHP, and he's been involved in a lot of stuff. He's been a lot involved. He started off in Oakland, so it was pretty busy. But another one of my buddies, he left the Department of Corrections, go to CHP to make that money. And I ain't gonna lie, man, he's having a hard time because, and he's talking like he has like 18, 19 felony stops a month, you know, so many DUIs. And he says that they respond to like 8, 9, 10 calls a night, as well as the regular traffic stops, DUIs and all that. And he says like one DUI takes up to 10 pages of writing for a report. Like there's all this criteria and stuff like that that you have to fill out. And imagine you get 3 or 4 of those a night, which is possible, man. A lot of people drive drunk.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, he's like, man, you know, we'll get off shift and it'll be a Friday, and the chief or whoever's there is like, hey, dude, get those reports done. I want them on my desk by Sunday because Monday they got to see a judge, you know? And they're over here doing reports at home, dude, on their days, on their time off. You know, because they have to get it done because they're considered 24-hour peace officers. So since they got that 24-hour peace officer badge on them, they have to take a lot of the reports home. One of my buddies, he's one of my neighbors. He's former PD, and you know they don't give you overtime to write. You know, they're like, hey, check this out, dude. You know, you're off the next 2 days. Make sure those reports are done by the time you get back. And you're like, damn, dude, like I'm not going to get paid for that. They're like, no, you're a 24-hour peace officer, dude. Part of your job. And yeah, they got to get it done. So there's their pros and their cons, because us, we leave. Guess what, dude? I don't got to worry about that fucking place until I go back. You know what I'm saying? But with, you know, like PD, sheriff's departments and stuff like that, some of the times, man, they got to take that stuff home because, you know, they're considered 24-hour peace officers and they're sworn to their duties and they have to finish those reports. Because if it's on a weekend, they got to see a judge. If they're set to go see a judge that the following morning, hey, you need to get it done before they go to court, you know, because what do people have when, you know, they get arrested? They have due process and their rights to speedy trials. So all that stuff has to be turned in before they get to go see that judge, either that following Monday or that following morning. So
yeah,
it's a double-edged sword everywhere.
I mean, yeah, everywhere. My buddy just joined CHP. He's a sergeant at Kern Valley. He just left. He left the department, joined CHP, and he's loving it. He's loving every moment of it. Yeah, he's been there, I think, maybe about a year now. He loves it. So, but like you said, it's a double-edged sword. Any job you do.
For sure.
But
yeah, for sure.
I think we're gonna wrap it up here, Slick. Okay, we're on the 43-minute mark. It was nice talking to you.
Always checks.
And we're gonna get back with you. We're gonna do a part 2. I got a few things I want to talk to you about still, but we're gonna have to wrap this one up for tonight.
All right, for sure, man. Send me a text. Let me know what's going on, and then I'll put down some talking points so we can get it on.
I appreciate that, Slick. You have a wonderful night.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. Sorry I had to get back to you this late. Have a good one.
You too, bud.
All right, later.
Later. That was Slick, ladies and gentlemen. And this is The Real Shit. Checkers Brea. I'm out of here.